Hello friends, my name is James Hopkins, and as always I'm joined by my good friends Brian Castiglione and Anthony Alessino, as well as my younger brother, Jack Hopkins. On this show we're all about parlays, overs, unders, spreads, and money lines. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Parlay-Vous. Hey everybody, how's it going? It's been a long, hot, dry, wet, hurricane season-y summer. Although this year we did have the benefit of the Olympics and the basketball team to get us through just pretending we give a shit about baseball all summer. The time has finally come. This weekend, the NFL is back. Actually, not even this weekend. 2 short days away, Thursday Night Football, we're going to kick off the NFL season. And if the NFL is back, you're goddamn right, that means the Parlay-Vous podcast is back for its 5th season now. Going into our 5th season strong here. Podcast is back. We're better than ever. We got Jack Hopkins, we got Brian Castiglione in studio. This is the crew today, and we will be going over NFL futures. Some people's favorite podcast, some people's favorite bets to make. Some people like to be day by day. Some people like to only make futures. Some people like to sprinkle both in. I'm a sprinkle both in kind of guy. We'll see how the futures go this year, but I'm excited nonetheless. And some extra excitement while we're here. Brian will be live drafting a fantasy football team during the pod, so that should be fun. Give us some bonus content while we're in the middle of doing this thing.
See if I can work it in. Yeah, the futures, I'm excited. It's always nice. I like sprinkling innings. It's always nice to kind of have something at the end of the year, especially if it hits.
If it even comes close to panning out.
Yeah, we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves when I say this, but I always feel like I do futures at the beginning. Do the daily stuff. Every Sunday. Bet the slate, and then I feel like once I get around the week 12, 13, where the playoff pictures kind of come in together, come in and try and see if I can get some playoff futures at that point.
Some value still at that point.
Yeah, because sometimes you hit, and maybe you can double up on your futures from there.
Or you can shield yourself.
Yeah, either or you zag. Wind up hitting that way. You never know.
I've never been a futures guy. I'm all about the action right now.
It's the instant gratification Gen Z microwave era. I don't even want to bet on a game
because it gets hot quick.
I don't even want to bet on a game. I want to bet on the first quarter spread. Ass fucking millennial, Gen Z clown.
It's funny you say that because when I went to work over the weekend, I bet on Miami versus Florida, and the parlay was both teams to score in the first, both teams to score in the third, the over, and Florida money line. And Florida got their ass kicked.
Yeah, it was a bad bet. I could have told you that if you would have asked me.
I mean, dude.
Florida's in trouble.
Dude. Lagway will be okay.
Right,
no, that's Florida State, who's also in trouble. But
gotcha.
DJ Uiagalelei is an awful quarterback, and if you're the NIL people, the boosters at Florida State that gave this guy a couple of million, I would assume, to come over in the transfer portal, you've got to be kicking yourself in the ass right now. I cannot believe a team that was 13-0 last year going into the conference championship game loses now New York Jet Jordan Travis as the quarterback, and all of a sudden they can't play football. I mean, I know there's probably some other guys, Johnny Wilson left, other guys left, but still, they've gotten shelled in the last 3 games since Jordan Travis hasn't been there. And it was just bad against Boston College. But no, Florida, the Gators, if you're a Florida Gator fan, you're in for a rough one. And then Miami's got a guy at quarterback who might be going in the top half of the first round this, come April. So I could have told you that would have been a bad bet. That's Cam Ward, transferred over from Wazoo. Talk about a guy played in a wing tee offense in high school. If you're familiar with the wing tee, it's not a lot of throwing. It's like a triple option-esque in a way.
Yeah.
Wasn't highly recruited, went to JUCO, then went to Wazoo, now is at Miami, and could be a Heisman favorite, could be a first-round pick when it's all said and done. But yeah, college football, we'll get to college football on Thursday. Obviously, we're going to be starting the picks come week 2. We sat out week 0 and week 1. I made a few bets. I think I went 3 for 5 on Saturday over the course of the weekend. Big one would have been the USC money line Sunday night over LSU. I wish I would have hammered it more, but I didn't. But a win is a win. But anyway,
a whole lot of 0-5 on this opening weekend for me.
Yeah.
Cincinnati just couldn't figure it out.
Week 1's a rough one in college football. Week 1 and week 0, they're rough gambling weeks. It's
I mean-
usually, I would advise people sit out, but we're chomping at the bit for fucking since basketball ended to get any action. So you want.
No, you made a good point. The Olympics was a nice,
It was
nice
yeah.
holdover because, I feel like unless you like baseball, the summer is kind of a tough time for sports. That's why if you like baseball, you're in.
Even if
Perfect,
you
honestly, but-
like baseball, it is the hardest sport to gamble on, bar none.
I don't gamble on it at all.
Because you're gambling
No.
on the pitchers, and
Right.
if the starting pitcher goes 2 innings, you're fucked.
Yeah.
If the starting pitcher goes 1 inning or 3 innings, if you don't get to 5-6 innings, you're fucked 9 out of 10 times. Or, he gets hurt, whatever.
Right.
Baseball is, in my opinion, hardest of like the major sports to gamble on, harder than UFC. Before we get into
You
it,
got-
I'm going to shout Jack out. I'm going to give him his due. Jack has been known, and I don't know if it's on the pod because we
I believe it
cover,
is.
we touch UFC when we do, but we don't always. But we like to talk.
The card's big
we,
enough,
yeah, we
yeah.
like to talk fisticuffs. We don't always get it in. Maybe we'll be better about it this year. But Jack has made a string of ludicrous UFC bets over the course of the last couple of months.
Nice.
And every single time I looked at him and told him he was being ridiculous, I'm like, you're wasting your money. The one was early this summer, late spring. He bet on, why am I skipping the guy's name?
Bone eggs.
Bo Nickel. He bet on Bo Nickel
Yeah, I think I was there for
to
that
win
one.
by knockout,
Yeah.
and we all told him he was stupid,
Yeah.
and then it cashed in the
That was
first
like
round.
in March. Yeah.
And then 2-3 weeks ago, he sends me the ticket for DDP to win by submission, and I said, that's
You had it by
crazy.
sub. I had
That-
money line.
I
on.
said, that's crazy.
that is crazy though.
Like, he's not going to tap him out. No, lo and behold, got his back. I, like a dumbass, because I cashed big on Hooker that night.
yeah, me too.
I cashed big on Hooker that night, and then we're hanging out, drinking, partying. And I put 220 on Izzy money line
Oh my goodness, my man. No.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
because I was drinking. And I was like, I'll take Izzy.
I did very well that night too. Real quick, I'll run through them because I have them.
Those are my only 2 bets. So
I
I
had
wound up losing $20
not the worst
because
thing,
I
but
won.
Damn.
I won 205 on the
Right.
fucking Hooker.
I had Kai Kara France. I had Rosenstrike and over 1.5. I had just decision in the Strickland Costa one, but that might be a different.
That's a different
That's a different
card.
one. Yeah, that's an
Yeah.
earlier one. But yeah, I had that. I also had. Did I have? I thought I had Hooker, but I guess I didn't bet on him. I guess I probably said, "Let me take Hooker," and I never actually did it. But I remember saying to Connor because he sent his picks, and I was like, "Nah." I was like, "You're gonna go against Kai France and Dan Hooker, like both of them." So I'm glad Kai came back. It's nice. Coming off like the surgery, not fighting for like over a year.
He's just vicious.
He's a very violent fighter. It's crazy. And Dan Hooker is a psycho. The man is just.
I
He's
will
great.
never bet against Hooker, dude.
That's what I said to
I will
Connor.
never.
I'm like, you
And
don't.
then Zach's fucking telling me he hasn't really been that good lately. I'm like, he's 3 of his last 5, and he fucking one of his fights was against, was it Islam? One of his last 5 fights was Islam.
I think so. Yeah.
He fought 2 world beaters. I'm like,
Yeah.
look, dude, the top 5 is different.
Yeah.
This guy was a top 5 guy for like that. Don't just go away. He's not old and washed. Like that's still,
Right.
He won his last fight. He broke his fucking wrist in the second round and still won the fight.
Also, in the same, in the same respect, once you get to top 5, if you lose 1 or 2, you're double digits almost immediately.
Mhm.
So it's when it's hard to get there, and it's also hard to stay there. That's why.
When you get the quote unquote number 1 contenders fight and then you get washed,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to climb your way back up. the
And it's
mountain a
also
little bit.
harder because when you're, everyone in the top 5 is competing for the title shot, so you have to wait until everyone, if you're 15 through 8, you could just keep jumping rankings until you're one of the top 5 guys, but then you have to wait until the title picture figures itself out. So it gets
but
complicated when you go.
I
up
think
there,
a lot of
feel
these. I think a lot of these guys understand UFC is different from boxing in the way that like boxing protects everybody, and then basically 1 or 2 losses and you're no longer a draw.
like. Right.
Dana, I mean, look at Mike Chandler. He's 1-4 in the UFC, right? 1-3 in the
Yeah.
UFC.
But he's a huge draw.
But he's entertaining and he
Yeah.
fights bangers. And Dana
Yeah.
White's like, dude, if you fight an entertaining fight and you put asses in seats,
It's exactly
you're
how
gonna
it
have a
goes.
fucking job.
He's
You
like,
can
we're
go,
trying to make
yeah.
money.
You go 2 of 6, but if you're entertaining in every fight, you'll keep having a job
Dude,
as long as you want to fight, dude.
Derek Lewis could lose a million fights, but he'll still get signed. He
And
just
then-
got signed to a 6
And
6-fight contract.
Look at the two idiots in late July that fought. I forget what card that was. I forget his name right now. The two morons. They were at each other's throats the whole way. Started a scene at the press conference. Started a scene at weigh-ins. They had to have security come out into the octagon before the fucking fight to stop these guys from going at it. And then the bell rings, and they looked at each other for 15 minutes.
Oh,
And after the fight, this guy's like a top 15 fighter.
Yeah.
His name is skipping me right now. After the fight at the press conference, Dana White said, he's done. So I think Strikeforce just got themselves a talented band.
Yeah, I remember. I didn't watch that pay-per-view.
Well, not Strikeforce, but
remember
whoever
that
it was,
interview.
Pro Fight League.
Yeah, PFL.
Yeah.
All right, so should we talk football?
Yeah, let's get into it. We're going right into win totals here.
Okay. Do you want me to pull them up? Do you
I
have
think
them?
Jack
got
has them
All
up.
right, let's
We'll
go.
guess. Little early version of guess the lines.
All right.
And Jack, I mean, have you seen them?
No.
You want to guess?
I'll guess because I haven't really looked at much.
All right.
Okay. We're gonna start with the Niners.
Are we guessing the number?
Yeah, the
Just
number
the God.
win total over.
I thought
under.
we were going over under.
No, you're guessing the number,
Yeah.
and
okay.
then we'll pick over under after.
Okay, the Niners.
Yeah. I'm gonna call it 10.5.
I was gonna say 12.5, honestly.
12.5's crazy.
Meet you in the middle at 11.5.
All right.
Okay, I'll take the under.
I'm gonna take the over.
I'm gonna take the over.
12 wins is not easy.
I figured they'd.
Yeah, but when you're the best
They've been
team in
so
the league,
consistent.
you know.
Take it easy.
No. Okay, settle down. Move on to Carolina, the Panthers.
6.5.
I was gonna say 6.5.
You can say 6.5.
I'll say 6.5. Yeah.
5.5.
Damn.
Cocksucker. All right,
6.5
wins.
is tough.
but it's 5.5.
Yeah, 5.5. I'll say over, but they're gonna get 6 wins.
I'm
That's
gonna
what I
go. I'm
think.
gonna go under.
I feel like they wind up with 6 wins. I take that over.
Yeah, I'm afraid they just get 6.
Move on over to the most useless state in the country, Ohio, the Cleveland Browns.
Cleveland Browns. Give me 8.5.
I'll say 7.5.
We got this year's first bing bong at 8.5 for the Cleveland Browns for Jimmy.
8.5. So they have to win 9 games. Oof.
In that division, you got to play 6 games against
Yeah.
Burrow, Lamar, and Justin Fields / Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
I'm going under.
I'm gonna go under too.
I
That
feel
feels
like,
tough. Nick Chubb not coming back.
I feel like the under is probably there. I think they
Nick
make that
Chubb,
wild
they said
card
4
spot.
weeks, but they're expecting a
but-
big year out of Jerome Ford.
Yeah, but you tear your ACL, ACL, MCL. Even when you just tear your ACL, I feel like it takes a full year to
Yeah,
get back to like performance play.
that's not why I'm basing it on Deshaun Watson not being a good quarterback.
Well, that's also a factor.
Move on over to Miami, the Dolphins. The Fins.
Good. Oh, the Fins. 9.5.
Damn, I was gonna say 9.5 too. 9.5.
We got the second and third bing bong of the
Nice.
year
Good
here,
call.
9.5. And I'm going to take the over.
I'm gonna take the over as well.
I'm gonna take the over, but not by much, by 1 or 2. Dolphins kind of slowed down towards the end of the year for some reason, so that kind of makes me nervous.
All right, we'll move on to New England.
5.5.
4.5.
Fourth bing bong of the year at 4.5.
Wow, they went lower on them than the Panthers.
They're the worst
Wow.
team in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean,
Them and the Giants. are
I
really
figured
good beat up for
Carolina
it.
and them would be the same. Okay,
I
4.5.
feel like Drake May is electric.
Jacoby Brissett starting the year.
That's incredible. I thought
Mhm.
they said
I thought Drake
won
May
the
was
job.
starting.
No, Jacoby
Oh.
Brissett.
Well, no,
starting.
you see, nobody knows.
No,
So,
they announced Jacoby Brissett is starting.
I don't know.
This is crazy, but I'm gonna go under 4.5.
5 games?
They're terrible.
I don't know, man. That defense is over
The defense
something
is terrible. The
Mm.
whole team is terrible. There's no talent on the Patriots roster.
else. That's pump the brakes.
Ramondre Stevenson and maybe Jalen Polk.
I'll say.
Guy hasn't played a
I'm gonna
single
say
snap.
under as well, because I
mean,
really know.
They got rid of Matthew Judon because they were sick of him. They were sick of having an all-pro pass rusher. Did you make a pick?
No, I'll go under. Next up, the New York Football Jets.
This is 10.5.
I was gonna say 9.5.
Fifth bing bong of the year at 10.5.
I promise you, I
Holy-
promise you,
believe
I've done no looking up.
I mean, we've both been close. It's not like we're far off. It's one off every time. So it's 9.5?
10.5.
10.5.
11 games.
I think under they just get 10.
I was gonna say the same thing. I think they wind up
Yeah,
with
the
10.
10-7 season looks
Wind up in
ugly
a-
though, so I'm gonna
A
take the
wild
over.
card battle.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I think it's time for the Jets to soar, so to speak. Next up, we get the Houston Texans. Now, I think this might throw you for a loop. I think it might.
Like being really high.
I mean, I don't know. You think about the Texans and then
Is
think
it double
about...
digits?
Am I allowed to answer?
Yeah, alright, fine. You don't have to.
I was
I'm
going
gonna
to say,
go with 9.5.
I'm gonna say 8.5.
Brian with a bing bong at 9.5.
Yeah, I thought it'd be a little bit higher, but
That's what I was thinking.
they
too.
no, there's a lot of people I feel like even in the fantasy community are kind of down on the Texans this year.
Got to see it twice before you can buy into
Yeah, I
it.
think that's the idea. But
I feel like
so-
everyone's been very high on the Texans.
9.5 though, I'll go over on that.
I
feel-
think they could get to 10
So
wins. in
yeah,
AFC
the over on that is minus 140.
It's weird. Yeah, I'm still gonna go over though.
So we'll move on down to, or we'll up. We're gonna move up to the Indianapolis Colts.
Problem is we don't know Anthony Richardson. It looked good while he was playing, but
I think
I'll
he
say-
is playing.
I'll say 7.5.
I was gonna say 7.5
Yeah.
as well. And it's funny you say that about Anthony Richardson. Did you hear what the Bengals were saying at joint practice a couple of weeks ago?
No.
All this guy does is run. During practice, they
Really?
were going, "Can all this guy do is run?" Like the minute he can't, like the first throw isn't there, he looks to take off. I'm still not sold on Anthony Richardson. I like 7.5 as the what is it though?
8.5.
It's 8.5.
Damn.
I'll
Alright.
go under.
I'm gonna go under too. Gotta see it.
I'm gonna buy in. I'm gonna go over.
There's no Gardner Minshew to bail them out anymore.
That's fine, dude.
Yeah, he's the Raiders quarterback now.
Moving on down south to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Didn't really do much in the offseason, I don't think.
So
Re-signed Trevor.
they brought in Gabe Davis.
No, they got a rookie, Brian Thomas Jr.
They didn't bring.
They
in,
had Gabe Davis.
No, you're thinking.
They did bring in Gabe Davis,
Yeah,
but
you're
they
right.
also got Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah.
Yeah, they brought in Brian Thomas Jr. They brought in Gabe Davis. They're having Christian Kirk back. They brought in Mac Jones as the backup quarterback. I'm just going. We're in the same division here, and the other. I believe that Vegas sees them as a better team than the other two, and those two were at 8.5 and 9.5, right?
Believe so, yeah.
So this has got to be 10.5.
For who? Jacksonville? I was
Jacksonville.
gonna go with 9.5. Sorry, I'm picking my first pick right now.
That's okay.
8.5.
Do we wanna-
Who was the selection? Who's available?
Debating between Brees Hall.
Brees Hall.
Where are you
The
picking?
next best seventh. The next best receiver is Justin Jefferson.
You taking Brees
I
Hall?
think I'm gonna take Brees Hall.
Brees Hall
again.
falls
Brees
to
Hall's-
7. You take
yeah.
him. You don't even think twice about it.
It was between him and Bijan at one point, but
Now
Bijan got taken before, so
now you
Brees Hall
consider,
falling that far is an
now you
atrocity.
consider going hero running back. You see who the best running back is on the swing. That's what I would do.
we'll
Don't
see.
listen to me though. So what was the over under in the Jacksonville game?
8.5, and I'm
8.5?
going under.
Yeah, 8.5 seems high. I'll go under as well.
For Jacksonville?
For Jacksonville, you think it's high?
For 8.5. You think they'll win 9?
Yeah. I'm taking the over.
I'm looking at 7 and 10, dude.
I'm taking the over.
I feel like
Yeah,
it's a
I
tough
kinda agree
season
with
to
Jack.
Duval.
I think I'm gonna go under too.
It's a tough. I think they have a hard schedule this year too. Moving on to the Mountains, the Denver Broncos.
Oh god. 5.5.
6.5.
Bing bong at 5.5.
Over.
I'm gonna go over.
I'll go
Over.
too.
I believe in Bo Nix.
I believe in Bo. I believe.
All right, well we'll get right moving on to the Las Vegas Raiders.
Kind of a rebuild team overall.
Nah, dude, the stash is there.
Playing in the AFC West. 5.5.
Yeah, that's a huge factor, honestly. I'll say 5.5 too.
6.5.
Alright, so
And I think on the back of Gardner Minshew, this team's gonna go over. I think they're gonna be 7-10.
Yeah, I think under and Devontae Adams is in New York Jet by the trade deadline.
Yeah, I feel the same.
I feel like
way.
that's horrible, but it's okay. Los Angeles Chargers.
Justin Herbert's healthy, but doesn't have many people to throw to. Jim Harbaugh came into town.
They're gonna run the shit out of the ball.
7.5.
I was thinking 8.5.
Bing bong, 8.5. He's on top of it today. Where's this during Guess the Lines, dude?
I don't know, like,
Where's this during Guess the
It's
Lines?
a new year. Watch your mouth.
I'm gonna say
New year, new haircut, dude.
Yeah, new year, new haircut.
I'm gonna
Fucking
say
almost
under,
40 pounds
but
down.
not by much, honestly.
Yeah, I'm also gonna say under.
Yeah, but not by much.
This is a tough one. I'm gonna go over, but over is minus 155, and I just don't trust that.
I don't think they're gonna get. I don't think they can get to 9 wins this year. I think they're gonna run the shit out of the ball.
Yeah, but Gus was holding it down in Baltimore. Gus and JK were holding it down. When JK was home.
Isn't Greg Roman part of this coaching staff now?
You think so? Yeah.
This guy, the guy that couldn't get anything out of Lamar Jackson, is going to maximize Justin Herbert's potential. I just don't believe it.
We'll see. Next up, Detroit Lions.
Puka was there.
So you took him?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
No, I have some time to chill.
The Detroit Lions.
10.5. No. 11.5.
9.5.
10.5.
Oh,
You're
dude,
right,
that's
dude.
crazy. I knew it.
I'm going over, dude.
I'll go over.
I'll go over. They seem to be a lot of people's Super Bowl favorites this year, which is kind of interesting.
That's what scares me. They're like the darling that ultimately lets down.
I think
They're the preseason darling that winds up not living up to the hype.
Marty just texted me, Brees Hall falling to you. Who are these people?
Oh, Marty's in that league?
Yeah.
I'm going over here, but Jameson Williams is a problem, and that guy's gonna be like this year's Kadarius Toney. He's gonna be useless. I'm gonna see like Khalif Raymond have a career year.
I don't know if comparing Jameson Williams to Kadarius Tony's fair.
Jameson Williams at least roster.
Dude, when
Kadarius
we
Toney
play
got
back this
traded,
tape,
got 2 rings real quick, and didn't make the roster.
Yeah.
He said, peace out. They'd rather have Juju Smith-Schuster and his
They
empty
do.
knees over me. And Pat Mahomes is excited about it.
that's all I'm saying. I don't think much of that kid. But next up, Minnesota Vikings. It's post JJ McCarthy injury.
And Sam Darnold's
Sammy
not.
Darnold.
Oh, Sam Darnold is
slinging
the
the
starter.
rock.
J.J. McCarthy got hurt.
7.5.
Love this for Sam, honestly.
I love it for Sam.
Love
Love
it
it
for
for
Sam.
Sam, dude.
Um,
Sam Darnold being a 70 in Madden is a
I forgot
fucking
to tell
crime.
you, real quick, Dan Hansis also is a big Sam Darnold guy.
Yeah, of course he
They
is. Me and Dan
restarted-
Hansis are the same guy. By the way,
Yeah.
Good Morning Football
Around the NFL is no more.
gone, right?
Yeah.
So what's the new show?
So, real quick, Greg stayed with Around the NFL. Well, he's doing his own thing with the NFL still. They didn't want Dan at the NFL anymore.
Really?
Yeah, so Mark said, I'm not doing that, and he pieced out. They're actually with Underdog Sports now, doing Heed the Call, which is their podcast. It may as well be Around the NFL.
Yeah,
it's the same exact show.
I figured
but
that's what was going to happen.
on the show, he made a whole segment and a whole song. Like, the trumpets came in, and he goes, this year. He's like, it's Sam Darnold's year. He's like, I've been pounding the table for this guy. 4 years. Yeah, no. He's
Me
like,
too,
every
dog.
year he gets into a good spot. He's like, besides the Panthers, he's like, every year he gets into a good spot, and then he gets taken out by someone else or gets pushed down the roster. He's like, but not this year. Dude,
I really thought that 1 week late in the year when Purdy was fucked up.
yeah.
I really thought he was going to get a shot to get in there. But hey, I like Sam with the Vikings.
Yeah.
We haven't guessed over-unders yet, right? I'm going to say 7.5.
I was going to say 7.5.
6.5. And I'm
Over,
fucking hammering.
over.
We found the pick.
O-V-E-R, over.
We're hammering the pick. We're going to make a little futures parlay.
Hammering the Vikings over 6.5. That's fucking disgusting. I know their defense is garbage, but don't act like Sam Darnold is a low-tier backup.
Right.
Like, I feel like Sam Darnold is a top fucking...
When he was in the Panthers through week 7, he was top 5 in touchdowns, passing touchdowns.
And that was with Matt Rule's dumbass running the show.
Listen, Matt Rule's going to kill it in Nebraska. Take it easy.
Dylan Raiola is a good quarterback, but we're not here to talk about
Whoa, you know what? Never mind. It's fine.
We're not here to talk about college football yet, but Yeah, over.
Yeah, I'll
And
say that.
we'll get to this later in the show. I want to hammer Sam Darnold for comeback player of the year. It's just hard with Rodgers. But
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
so hard with Rodgers sitting there.
Now, oh yeah, that's true.
Rodgers is minus
Think
one.
Jettis-
Last I checked. We'll get to that when we
Do you
get
think
to it.
Jettis gets a bid for getting hurt?
Jettis is
comeback
not
player?
gonna get a bid.
Not at all. You don't think? Well, I'm gonna look at that later. But
Yeah, we'll get to that when we get to it.
next up, everyone hates them. The Dallas Cowboys.
A lot of people are big on the Cowboys this year, especially since they locked
Fuck
up
the
CD.
Cowboys.
And,
Just announced today, Rico Dowdle will be running back one.
yeah, I'm gonna say.
Over-
Oh yeah, you expected that over Ezekiel.
Over Fat Boy Z.
Yeah. Vegas always
change.
kind of seems to respect them. I'll say 10.5.
Yeah, I was gonna say 9.5.
9.5.
Yeah, it's.
And I'm hammering the under. That's
Yeah.
part.
What-
I'm not putting it in
Let's
the
have a
parlay.
fun little side bet. Fun little side prop bet here. It's just a yes or no proposition bet. Will Shadur Sanders quarterback the Dallas Cowboys next season? Let's call it even money.
Yes, and it costs the price of CD Lamb.
I think yes, and they suck enough to get down there.
I think that's a flaming hot take. And I like it.
I mean, it's no guarantee that Shadur is the number one quarterback off the board. Jackson Dart is a favorite. Cam Ward is a favorite. Carson Beck out of Georgia is a favorite.
I mean,
We're at
listen.
the point in the year where there's like 6, 7 different quarterbacks that could be the first quarterback taken.
If I'm Dallas and I'm baking a cake right now, dude, all the ingredients are there. The flair, the history, Dion, you're going, it's a Jerry Jones thing.
You have to draft Shiloh too.
That's the thing. But Shiloh, he thinks Shiloh's going to go on the top of the fucking draft. And I'm like,
No.
there's no shot.
No,
If
no,
anything,
no.
he should stay for his last year if he's not a senior. But
I think Shiloh might be older, but I'm not sure. So anyway, it's 9.5 under.
I'm gonna say over because I feel like every year Cowboys win enough to make to the playoffs and then lose in the playoffs.
You know what?
You know, because that's what happens. They don't look bad during the season.
I'm gonna take the over actually.
Yeah, they don't look bad during the season. It's just when they get to the playoffs, everything just kind of falls off.
I am gonna take
They
the
always
over.
get there.
the thing is, for me, Dak Prescott just upsets you no matter what. You could bet on Dak Prescott sucking and he could have a great game, or you could bet on him having a great game and he could just lay an egg. So I'm staying away from the Cowboys entirely,
Dak
but I want to go
Prescott
under.
is like that last can of candles chunky in the back of the cupboard that you don't want to reach to it, but if you have to, you like, you know, some days it could save you, some days it's a sad meal, you know.
It's
like if there's a
30 degrees
snowstorm,
outside,
if you're stuck inside in a snowstorm and you can't get to the grocery store, that's not a bad option, you know, to go to the Campbell's Chunky in the back of the cupboard. But if like it's completely reasonable, you just really don't have the extra money to spend on takeout, and then you wind up getting the soup instead, then you're gonna be upset about it when all your friends are eating Wingstop, you know. And that's how I feel. Dak Prescott, the can of soup.
That's a great take. I'll forever treasure that. But we're gonna move on to the New York Football Giants.
4.5.
Yeah, I was gonna say 4.5.
6.5.
What?
Under.
Yeah, I'm
Under.
gonna take the under.
Under.
It's crazy. A lot
So-
of people buying into Malik Neighbors, and I get it.
Malik Neighbors is
But-
gonna be good, but they're gonna suck as a
That's
team.
what I'm saying. Malik
It's
Neighbors'
Daniel Jones. Dude.
numbers are gonna suffer because of what's around him.
I think
That's
Malik
gonna be
Neighbors
the
might
issue.
fuck around and buy Daniel Jones that last year on the contract. I really do. But I don't think they're going to win many games.
So if you leave the line at 6.5, the under is minus 135. You move the line to 4.5, like you guys were saying, the under is plus 240.
Yeah, well, that's a little crazy.
We're gonna move on to the Washington Commies, the Commanders.
The Giants were just at 6.5, so the Commanders got to be at 5.5.
Yeah, I'll say 5.5.
6.5.
They did it the same. Okay.
Over.
Over, but not by much. Maybe 7.
Can
Yeah.
we see a 7-10 season out of
Yeah.
Washington?
Yeah, I could. Because I could see 2 against the Giants. Two more against the Eagles and Cowboys combined. However they get them, split both of them or sweep one of them, and that's 4 right there.
I could see it. I'll buy into the over.
Dan Quinn coming in fired up. Almost left coaching before he became the defensive coordinator of the Cowboys. You know, had a couple of good years with the Cowboys. Now he's ready to come back in. I think Ron Rivera really tarnished that team.
Damn.
And I think now that the ownership has changed, we got a new coach in there. They're gonna play fucking defense. But a Dan Quinn team rarely quits on defense, other than the Super Bowl when they were up 28-3. But that's neither here nor there. That's an outlier, not the rule. Yeah, I do think they're gonna play some inspired football. And until I have a reason not to, I do like what I see from Jaden Daniels.
Move on to New Orleans Saints over here. I don't like this line. It's yucky.
7.5.
9.5.
7.5. Brian knew what I was getting at here, and that's just an under. There's nothing good in New
I don't
Orleans.
think so. I think it's an
Yeah,
over.
I think it might be an over.
No,
honestly.
I don't see anything good.
No, I think it's an over.
They're in a relatively, I wouldn't say an easy division, but they're not in like a powerhouse division. Their defense is not terrible. Alvin Kamara still is doing okay, even closing in on 30, or he might already be 30 at this point.
Probably.
Olave's only in his third year. He looks great. Carr just does what he does. He goes out and throws yards. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go over. I
Yeah.
think they could get to 8 wins. I really do.
I'm just not there. I can't do it. I have to go under. But we'll move on to another team I like, though, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, I like the Bucks too. Locking up Baker was
I was just say, coming off that wild
Did
card,
they get him to a long-term deal?
3 years.
3 years.
3 for 53, I think.
I'm gonna say over 8.5.
7.5.
Bing bong, 7.5.
Yeah.
And that's an over.
Yeah, I'll go over on that one as well.
I'll go over. Same with the Saints, but the Bucks defense is even better. And you got Galvin and Evan and Rashad White. Baker's locked up, so
Yeah, and I
feels
really,
a much more stable team.
I believe
this
in
year.
Baker for sure.
So next we're going to move on up north to the Seattle Seahawks.
Damn, I don't even know. The
8.
Seahawks are such an interesting team.
8.5.
6.5.
7.5. We'll meet
Right
you
in the middle.
I'll let you take this one first, Brian.
7. In the NFC West, I'll say over.
Under.
Yeah. I'm not really even confident in over,
I
but
was
I
going to
think,
say,
I
is
think,
Gino
I think
even...
this is the year the Geno aberration finally comes to
it's over.
fruition here.
the fun times are over.
The 2
Well,
years
do they
of
even
Geno
have a
tricking us.
quarterback in the wings here?
Sam Howell.
Actually,
Sam Howell's their backup quarterback, I believe.
I'm going to say under for the fact that it's a down year, and I think Gino rides this last... I think this is the last year of
Somehow
Gino.
it's their backup.
I think Gino goes into retirement.
I don't know about retirement. He's saying he wants more money, so
I mean, is he that guy, though?
I don't believe it. I watched plenty of Geno Smith in my life
I understand that.
at West Virginia and on the Jets.
I gotta sit here and go under because it looks like a 7-10 season for them. It's
Yeah,
just
that's
it's
what
a
I
tough
think.
division.
7-10.
Tough division.
Yeah.
Moving on. We'll move it on to the LA Rams.
Rams are a spicy little team.
9.5.
I was going to
Spicy.
say 9.5 too.
8.5, and that's an over for
So
your
we'll
boy.
say over.
Yeah,
For a
over.
team that went all in truly and just didn't care, the reload is incredible.
Fuck them picks, dude.
Nah, bro, the reload.
Fuck them picks.
And fuck them picks, dude, and then make the right picks.
Yeah.
Kyron
Fuck
came
them
from
picks.
fuck them picks. Puka came from fuck them picks.
I don't necessarily believe in Kyron this year as a fantasy player, but I do like him as an actual football player on a winning team for sure.
I think him and A-Chain have a very similar
I
role
think
in
the
NFL.
minute you heard Kyron was returning punts, that should have been all you needed to know to stay away from him in fantasy football this year.
I mean, that's why I drafted Blake Corum.
And like I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but if you look at the numbers, like in terms of players who are relatively unknown and then come in as like an undrafted or a low drafted player, and then pop and finish like in the top 10, top 15 of fantasy running backs, they almost never repeat ever.
Yeah.
That's like the David Johnson type of thing, right?
No, that's more.
That was a
like,
weird thing, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, ish, but not quite.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll go over.
I'm going to go over.
Over.
Next up, Cincinnati. Cincinnati Bengals. Them Bearcats, if you will.
10.5.
11.5.
Bing bong, 10.5. And I'm personally staying away, but I'll go over just because it's Joe Cool. Getting bored.
I'm going to say over because Joe Burrow's coming back, but Jamar Chase contract is getting to me.
Yeah, I'm going under for the contract, for the fact that their defense left a lot on the field last year, and for the fact that no matter how much we do as the Cincinnati Bengals organization to keep Joe upright and on his feet, it doesn't work. And I'm starting to feel like maybe that's not on the players or the talent on the offensive line. I'm not saying it's on Joe. I'm not saying it's on Zach Taylor. I'm not saying it's on any one particular individual. But we've put a lot of resources into offensive line. Everyone bitched the year they took Jamar Chase that they should have taken Penei Sewell instead of giving Burrow his weapon from college. You need to protect him. And then they didn't, and he was the most hit quarterback in the league. And they spent the last 2 off seasons adding blue chip talent on the offensive line, and it hasn't gotten any better. Joe still can't stay healthy, still can't stay on the field, still got guys in his face left and right. And I think now it's finally time that we chalk it up to maybe it's a schematic issue, maybe it's a Joe issue, maybe it's a Zach Taylor issue, maybe it's a sum of all parts. For all of those reasons on top of Jamar Chase. And the thing with Jamar Chase that bothers me, now look, go get your money. I'm all fine. I want all these players to get paid. You never know. Tomorrow could be the last day. Or you could walk outside, step over a curb, and blow your ankle up and never be the same again. I get that. But the fact that he wants strictly 1 penny more than Justin Jefferson doesn't sit right. And I do believe he could miss games without the contract.
Yeah.
We're closing in now on 5 days before they have to play.
Yeah.
And he's not practicing.
I mean, just as a little synopsis on it from me, Jefferson's been in the league, what, a year longer than Chase?
Yeah, 1 year.
I don't understand why we're fighting. Well, they're both.
Because that's the way NFL
they're the 2
contracts
best
work.
receivers in the league.
And whenever someone feels they're a top 5 player, when it's their time to get paid, they want to be the next highest paid player at their position. It's just keeping up with the Joneses in the NFL. And here's the thing, this Hassan Reddick obviously has been holding out with the Jets, which has been much to speak about here in the New York media, New York market here. Hassan Reddick could decide to show up tomorrow and be effective on Sunday because he's a pass rusher. I don't need to know. I know how to fucking play edge rusher.
Right.
Go get the quarterback. It's not wide receiver, quarterback connection, It's not one of these deals where you need to get the reps. Now, look, I'm sure they know each other. I'm not saying that Joe and Jamar don't know each other. I'm just saying that every rep matters, and I worry that he doesn't show up. And when he does finally show up, I worry where his head's at. So I'll go under for all of those reasons.
I'm still going with over.
Yeah, it's the
Maybe on the
Bengals, man.
comeback.
That's fine.
Moving on over to the back-to-back champs, the Kansas City Chiefs.
10.5.
11.5.
Bing bong, 11.5, and that's just an over. That's just an automatic.
Over.
Yeah, over. Not much to say about that.
No,
honestly.
over. Is Patrick Mahomes living and breathing? Okay. Is he under the age of 40? Okay. Over.
Baltimore Ravens,
9.5.
I was going to say 10.5.
10.5.
Good for
And
you,
I
man.
feel like that's an over.
Yeah, I'll go over this year.
Yeah, I'll go over. Lamar was MVP last year. Zay Flowers might be coming into his own a little bit more.
Second year in what's-his-face's offense from Georgia, the offensive coordinator. His name's skipping me right now.
Oh, I know you're talking
But
about.
second year in the new offense. Yeah, I'll take it.
Green Bay,
Hopefully we get a healthy Mark Andrews all year.
Yeah.
maybe. Green Bay Packers,
9.5.
8.5.
9.5. And that's an over for your boy.
Yeah, I'm gonna go over as well.
Yeah, I'll take over.
Jordan
Packers,
Love is just
I have
gonna
them
be
winning
that
the
dude.
division this year. And the only future bet I've placed so far. So.
And it's just funny because there's just not a receiver on that team that you go, besides like maybe Christian Watson, you go, wow, that guy's sick.
There are some of the parts. There are
Yeah.
some of all parts. Which is how you win.
They're just a
football games.
unit, dude. They're
You
a
need
package
53
unit.
guys moving in the same direction, not 3.
Get that. Philadelphia Eagles,
11.5.
9.5.
meet you in the middle. How about 10.5?
How about the under?
Yeah.
Yeah, the under.
How's the under sound? Because I, once again, do not believe in the Philadelphia Eagles.
10.5.
I don't believe in the Philadelphia Eagles this year, and I'll give you a few reasons why. Number one is the obvious reason. Jason Kelsey is no longer there, who is obviously an all-pro center and one of the best centers that we've seen, I don't want to say in my lifetime, because like Kevin Mulai, Nick Mangold, two former New York Jets, some of the best centers I've really watched play, the Pouncey twins. But definitely the best center of like the last 10 years for sure, of like this era of football, probably the best center. And what I'll throw on top of that is Jason Kelsey is the one making the pass protection calls for the Philadelphia Eagles, not Jalen Hurts. So now Jalen Hurts, on top of we already watched him begin to kind of struggle a little bit last year, especially towards the end of the year. Now on top of that, he needs to read the defenses, go the extra mile, and probably make the pass protection calls. And I'm just going to cite something really quick, and I'm not going to take credit for it. It was, who's the guy, outside linebacker, played for Texas, had a couple of cups of coffee in the NFL, Emmanuel Acho.
Mm-hmm.
He pointed out, I don't know if he's with Fox or whoever he works for now, whatever show he was on a couple of weeks ago, he was talking about Jalen Hurts, and he pointed out something that I already knew, but I just never really heard it like verbalized the way he said it. Jalen Hurts is really good when the punches aren't telegraphed. So Jalen Hurts comes into Alabama, right? Comes in as a freshman, gets the starting job, brings them to the college football playoffs. No one knows who Jalen Hurts is. Lots of success. I think they might have went to the Natty that year. Next year they come back, brings them to the Natty. Tua Tagovailoa has to come in at halftime of the national championship and be the hero, win the national championship for them. Jalen Hurts transfers to Oklahoma. Jalen Hurts comes back the next year, loses the starting job to Tua. Tua is now the starter at Alabama. Backs up that year, then transfers to Oklahoma. Now we're at Oklahoma. Now we're in a different conference. No one knows. Jalen Hurts is a relative unknown. College football playoffs. Heisman finalist. I don't know if he won the Heisman that year or not. I'm blanking.
I thought he did.
He might have won the Heisman that year. I'm not sure. Then he goes and gets drafted in the second round to the Philadelphia Eagles. Second round quarterback Carson Wentz this year. Nobody really knows. Doesn't play a lot. Comes in his second year as the starter. Goes 8-7. Comes in the next season. Takes the team to the Super Bowl. Shows up last year. Shits the bed down the line. Once Jalen Hurts is not able to sneak up on people, they have him figured out. So until Jalen Hurts can show me and the world that he can be successful when his punches are being telegraphed, I'm going to be a doubter of him. And I believe no Jason Kelsey means no tush push this year.
Yeah, I think about that too. And it does feel that way because it was when they versed the Cowboys last year. I felt like once they versed the Cowboys and Micah Parsons shut them down, after that...
Once they played the Jets,
it was
the
just
Jets showed you the blueprint, and the Jets were
Right.
trash last year. But on defense, they showed you the fucking blueprint. And then the Cowboys, and then the Niners, and then it was downhill from there.
Yeah. Who do we got up next?
We got...
Sorry, Connor. I already had this conversation with Connor about how I don't believe in them this year.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Ooh, the old feelers, huh? Maybe 6.5.
Yeah, 6.5 was what I was going to go with.
7.5.
I'm going to say under.
I'm going to say under as well.
Yeah.
I just don't know.
Mike Tomlin's never been under 500 before. I have to go over. That's the
point.
rule.
That is a good point, actually.
Yeah, but he's never had this bad of quarterback play before that he's going to experience this year.
Mason Rudolph.
Not as bad as what Russ is going to be.
That's a horrendous take, man.
Don't care.
Just leave him alone.
Let Russ cook.
Steeler Nation.
Let Russ retire. How about that?
Let Russ retire.
Live off of Sierra's Masters. Make friends with Future, Russ. Squash the beef. Raise his kid. Raise them together. Co-parent. Just listen to What a Time to Be Alive Today. He's a better rapper than you are a quarterback.
That's crazy. I mean, it's a very true statement. We're going to move on to Buffalo.
Dirty Sprite 2 was Future's fucking Super Bowl win.
That is true.
I mean, listen, dude, he went back to back. He hit up Metro and he was like, let's go make a classic real quick. Russ ain't never made a classic, dude.
Nah,
Broncos country, let's die.
We don't support suicide on this podcast. I just want to let them know. Listen to the Logic song. You'll be better. Let's keep it going.
Buffalo Bills.
I don't even know what the clip is for this podcast yet. The Bills, give me 10.5.
11.5.
9.5, and I'm
Wow.
going under.
Under.
Under 9.5. I'm
Under.
gonna go over.
I'm seeing
I know,
an
it's
8
a big
9 season.
Josh Allen down year for
The
everyone.
Bills are
it
due
seems
for
like.
one. They're due for one.
Are they though? Every year they make the playoffs and lose.
And every year they keep losing talent and not replenishing it.
That is true.
They lost Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs and replaced them with Keon Coleman.
And Curtis Samuel.
Listen, dude, let's not.
Keon Coleman.
Keon Coleman could be lit.
Keon Coleman could be lit, but you're replacing your number one receiver from a year ago in Gabe Davis and your number two receiver from a year ago in Steph Diggs, who arguably was really the number one, just in terms of production. He became the number two. And you're replacing them with an unproven rookie that came out of the ACC, who I think might be good, but we don't fucking know. Route running in college and route running in the NFL is not the same thing, although I do believe in Keon Coleman. Then Curtis Samuel doesn't do it for me, and Khalil Shakir is going to be heavily relied upon as the third receiver.
You're forgetting about
Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox are both going to be out there a lot. On defense, the defensive side of things, these guys are old and hurt. Matt Milano's hurt again for the second time.
I think he's out for the season.
They don't know yet. He could be back by like December if it's still relevant.
Didn't
by then.
somebody?
Is Taylor Rapp
Tre'Davious
still
White.
even on the team?
I don't think
Taylor
so.
Rapp. I think he moved in free agency.
Yeah.
I think he did. The cornerback they cut last year,
Tre'Davious
Trey
White's out.
Yeah.
He's gone.
He retired, I'm pretty sure.
He probably, well, they cut him in the middle of the year because he couldn't stop getting hurt. I just think
Yeah, dude, DeMar Hamlin's going to be locking it down back there. It's strong safety.
it's going to have over under 3.5 tackles for DeMar Hamlin this year.
What are the odds on
I don't know.
DeMar Hamlin to record a
I
pick?
don't know. I'm
dude?
going under, though.
That's what I want to know. That's the spicy action. Yeah, under 9.5. It just seems way too easy. Tennessee Titans.
People are very up and down with the Titans, I feel like, this year.
I'm going to say 7.5.
Yeah, I was going to say 6.5.
Bing bong, 6.5. And I'm going to take the over.
Yeah,
I see a 7 and 10
I'm
season
going
in
over as
Tennessee.
well. I think it's a little addition by subtraction with the loss of the big man, Derrick Henry.
Well, it'll be a committee backfield.
Yeah, Tajay Spears and Pollard.
You got Will Levis
Yeah.
airing it out. That defense is mediocre at best.
They have Calvin Ridley. I think a lot of it's going to hinge
Do they
on...
have Calvin Ridley?
They do.
Yeah.
They got Nuke and Calvin
Yeah.
Ridley, dude.
DeAndre's
It's
going to
just-
be hurt for a little bit, but...
If you think about
Yeah,
it, this
he's
is
gonna
just
have
the
a tight hammy or
Falcons
something.
from a
No,
decade
he's
ago.
like getting... I think is he getting knee surgery, DeAndre Hopkins? He has a knee injury right now that's keeping him out, so...
I'm not sure. I haven't seen
Of
anything
course
on
he
Nuke.
does.
Nuke did me well in Arizona, and
I
then I
think-
said, it's okay, dude. Have your farewell tour.
Their success is going to hinge on how well Will Levis does. Because he seems to be a playmaker. Like, he has a lot of highlight
He
clips.
kind of
I
has
feel
that
like, but-
Gardner Minshew thing about him, where like nothing he does wows you, but he's gonna figure out how to win the game.
Right, that's
You
kind
know?
of
But
how
Gardner
it feels.
Minshew's kind of sick, though. He can throw
I
the ball
like
on a
Gardner
rope.
Minshew, but what about Gardner Minshew? He's not very big. He doesn't have the strongest arm. He's not super accurate. He's not fast. Nothing that he does jumps off of the page to you or pops off of the film, but he just wins.
He's a dog, dude.
Yeah, that's I think Will Levis. I mean, Will Levis probably has a stronger arm than Gardner Minshew.
Are we going to have dogs and leaders on the Cowboys when Deion's fucking the coach? Dude?
Is that what D stands for?
Yeah, it stands for dog, and then it says leader.
I know the L is for leader, but and then
Travis Hunter's
Travis
jersey
Hunter's
has a
got the
D
dog.
on it. I'm pretty sure Shiloh had last year had a D on his.
yeah, now he has
Now
an
he has
L.
the L. He's a leader now, guys.
Travis Hunter's insane. Did you see that
Is he?
catch?
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
His third touchdown catch that he
Yeah.
caught through the guy's body.
Is he going to play receiver or DB?
Before last week, I would have said he's going to play DB in the NFL, and now I think he's going to play receiver.
I don't know.
Top paid receivers are making 140 to 180 million.
Yeah.
Top paid corners make 80 to 100.
Yeah, I get that. But do you think he ever plays both at some point in
He'll
an NFL
probably
career?
try, but like C.J. Gardner-Johnson said on Twitter late last week, you're not going both ways against grown men in the NFL and shutting people down. I thought he would be a corner because, like, size-wise, Now, granted, you don't have to have like size advantages to be a good receiver, and size-wise, I think he's a run-of-the-mill sized wide receiver in the NFL. Size-wise, as a corner, I think he's long and strong and big. So that's why I always thought he might be better off playing corner. But at this point, time's gonna tell.
You're right.
I think
Receivers are getting paid.
I think he will try to do both.
I don't think it's.
He's such an interesting prospect.
No one let Devin Hester do it. They just made him switch from defense to offense. Devin Hester wanted to do both, and they were like, nope.
We'll move on down to Chi-Town.
7.5.
Yeah, 7.5 feels like.
9.5.
Under.
9.5.
Under.
Wow.
Under.
Yeah,
Under.
I'm gonna go under on that as well.
I think they're gonna have a good year. I think they're gonna be in a lot of games, but to win 10 is crazy to me.
7 and 10 under. Atlanta Falcons.
Can I just in order for them to get to 10 wins, they have to sweep one of their
I
divisional
said
rivals.
7 and 10 and went
No,
under.
I know.
he's
I'm
just
not
making the
coming
point.
at you. I'm just making the point to why I think it's a crazy line. In order to get to 10 wins, you assume they have to sweep one of their divisional rivals.
Yeah.
So that means they need to get 2 wins against either the Packers, the Lions, or the Vikings, on top of beating the other 2 at least once. You need to get at least 4 in your own division to get to 10.
They could do it to the Vikings. They could.
Maybe.
If Caleb's that
maybe,
good,
maybe
dude.
they could. But
If Caleb's that good.
let's keep it moving.
ATL, Atlanta.
People are big on ATL again this year, especially since Kirk Cousins in town. I'm gonna go 8.5.
Yeah, also I think 8.5.
9.5. I'm gonna take the over. I see 10 and 7. I see them getting to a wild card spot, and then we're starting to see the resurgence of Penix. Not the resurgence,
I'll
but
go over. Penix is not playing this
I'll
year.
go over too. 10 feels like the right number.
I feel like Kirk. If Kirk's got 5 years left in the tank, which Atlanta thinks he does, God bless. But I feel like Kirk's getting traded
I don't
after
think he's
year
got
2.
5, but I think he's got like 1 or
He
2.
definitely has 1 or 2.
Penix is not going to play this year, barring injury or catastrophic meltdown on offense,
Yeah.
which I'm not anticipating with Kirk.
Last team on the docket here, the Arizona Cardinals.
7.5.
Yeah, 6.5.
6.5.
Yeah.
Over.
I'll say over too. The Cardinals seem like feel like expectations are low for the Cardinals. And I think their team's a little bit better than I think people are anticipating. The defense seems to be pretty stable. They just got Marvin Harrison, Kyler Fuller removed from the ACL. Still have Connor and drafted a guy, Trey Benson, I think behind
Trey
him.
Benson was on the team last year.
Was he?
Yeah.
He's still an early draft pick though, if I remember correctly.
Yes, he was.
So, you know.
But that whole
like that.
offense was in shambles.
I like Arizona this year for some reason.
Yeah, I think they're a little interesting, to be honest with you.
All right, so I don't know how DraftKings lets you do it, but I got to 4 picks until it told me you cannot parlay any of these anymore. So I have a selection of 10 teams. We're going to narrow it down to until it lets me parlay it. Start. Minnesota Vikings, the over.
Yeah.
Regular Tampa Bay Buccaneers, over. 7.5.
Yeah.
LA Rams, over 8.5.
No, you're not confident in that?
Yeah. Well, we're trying to pick 4. Right?
Oh, okay. All right.
Kansas City Chiefs, over 11.5.
I'm gonna leave that one out just because it's high.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Baltimore,
No, I'm leaving it out, I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Leaving it out because it's a high number.
Baltimore Ravens, 10.5.
No, I'll leave that
Yeah,
out.
leave it out.
Green Bay Packers, 9.5. Over.
I feel good about the Packers getting to 10.
Yeah, that seems a little bit more realistic, I think. The division concerns me, but... Oh, I'm on the clock. Sorry, guys.
Who are we picking?
I don't know. I had 20 seconds.
Oh, God.
Not much talent here running back. I got Christian Watson sitting here, so...
We are talking about the Packers.
Yeah, we'll go with Christian Watson. I try to get him. I tried to get him last year, but he got hurt. Packers, I do feel confident in. I could put that on there.
Pittsburgh Steelers, 7.5. Over.
No,
I'm anticipating to leave it out there.
I'm leaving.
Tennessee
it out.
Titans, over 6.5.
What else is left?
Yeah.
Atlanta Falcons, 9.5.
Give me the Titans to get to 7.
Okay.
Yeah, give me the Titans.
And I also did take the over on the Cardinals as well.
Okay.
That's fine.
Leave that in.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it would stop you at 4. I thought we were at 4 already.
We are at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right now.
And what does the parlay say?
Unfortunately, your picks cannot be parlayed.
Yeah, because you got to take 2 of them out.
Is it 2 or is it? Yeah, it's
I
2.
know, Jack. You told us though.
Yeah.
It is. Well, I
Do I
got
look
to
like I have a
as I
phone in
was
front of
doing
my
it. As I was doing the wins and losses, the lines, I was adding them all into the parlay, and I was like, why can't I go past 4? This is bullshit. I thought this was supposed to be futures, bro.
Write DraftKings an angry letter, dude. I don't know what to tell you.
No, that's okay. I'll survive. So we'll go through the list again. We'll comb through and we'll see. Vikings. Are we confident in the Vikings
Yes,
over
we're
6.5?
hammering the Vikings.
Buccaneers 7.5.
Love that.
Hammered down. Rams 8.5.
They could be on the block for me.
Yeah.
Tough division.
Packers 9.5.
I feel good about the
Yeah,
Packers.
that's fine.
Cardinals 6.5.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the bet.
So what do we?
Packers, Cardinals, Titans, right?
Packers,
Yeah.
Cardinals,
And
Titans,
Vikings.
and Vikings.
And Vikings. So take out Tampa Bay and Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh wow! Apparently our picks cannot be parlayed.
Wow.
DraftKings, you're really fucking blowing us out of the water
Wow.
here.
All right,
you know?
well, take it easy. Take it easy. Let's just keep it moving. Let's get to division winners.
A little angry about that.
I actually have a future bet, and so I'll just go off what I did for the division. Go ahead, Jack.
Get us to the division winners.
Scrolling on over. Uno momento, por favor.
$3 to win $10.79.
$3.
$3.46 to win $1,079.
That's what we call a lottery ticket.
It's definition.
All 8 divisions.
Sure is.
No room for fucking failure.
No.
I love the Stones.
No. It's $3.
Yeah, it's less than a cup of coffee.
The real game here is
It's-
what happened to Alessino that one year where you get to like week 12 and all of them are looking good and they're giving you like a $500 cash out and you're like,
Oh man,
might do this.
This looks pretty mighty. Well, yeah, on a $3 wager, you have to do it. When
Yeah.
your Alessino had like hundreds on 2 teams to win. You ready over there? All right,
Let's do
whenever
this,
you're ready.
brothers.
Let's where we're starting.
Start with the NFC East.
I have
Alright.
the Eagles.
Give us the odds.
Oh, sorry.
Eagles minus 125, Cowboys plus 170, Commanders plus 900, and Giants plus 2,000.
I have the Eagles.
I'm gonna take the boys.
I could do it.
I
can't
feel like my
win.
hatred for both of these teams is just culminated into one thing.
It's gambling. It's not. We're not fucking. We're not here with a rooting interest. We're here in a vested interest in the stock. Look at it like the stock market. I'm down
I'm
on the
gonna go
Eagles.
with the boys.
I don't believe in the other 2 teams, and that's what's gonna make me take the boys.
NFC North.
Are we guessing first?
You can say who you have, and I would like the odds.
Yeah, read the odds and then I'll just...
Plus
I'll give you
130 for the Lions, plus 230 for the Packers, plus 280 for the Bears, plus 1,100 for the Vikings.
I have the Packers.
The Packers is the smart pick, but I think the Vikings is a fun long shot bet here as the last place team in the division. The fact that the Bears, you said the Bears are plus 280,
Yeah,
and the Vikings are plus 1,100.
yeah.
Yeah. The smart pick is the Packers.
The fun pick.
The fun pick, the pick that I'm making with my nuts, is shotgun Sam Darnold and the Vikings to win the division plus 1,100.
I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions. NFC South. We got the Falcons, minus 130. We got the Buccaneers, plus 320. We got the Saints, plus 400. We got the Panthers, plus 1,100. And I'll start, but I'm going with the Buccaneers.
Can you give me that again?
Falcons, minus 130. Buccaneers, plus 320. Saints, plus 400. Panthers, plus 1,100.
Yeah, I'll take the Buccaneers as well.
I took the Falcons. in that one.
Move on to the NFC West. We got the Niners at minus 195, the Rams at 350, the Seahawks 650, and the Cardinals at 1300. And I'm just gonna take the Niners.
Yeah, I took the Niners because I can't watch. If this parlay even makes it, I would not want to be exploding on me betting against the Niners.
Yeah, Niners is, you gotta go Niners there.
So here's the fun one: the AFC East. New York Jets at plus 165, leading the pack.
Yeah, no.
Buffalo Bills at plus 195. Dolphins at 205, and the Patriots at 2,500. And I'm going to take the Dolphins.
Go ahead and do it.
What do you think I'm going to say?
Just say it.
What do you think I'm going to say?
You know what I think you're gonna say.
Tell me what you think I'm going to say.
Yeah, vote behind you.
I took the Buffalo Bills.
That's incorrect, Brian. Oh, man.
So the Jets being favorites scares the piss out of me, and I don't believe in the Bills this year. So I'm also going to take the Miami Dolphins to win the division.
AFC North. Cincinnati Bengals at plus 145. Baltimore Ravens tied with them at 145. Cleveland Browns at 550. Steelers at 800. I'm going to take the Birds. The Ravens.
The Birds or the Eagles?
I have the Ravens as well.
I'm going to also take the Ravens.
Ravens are a bird, bro. Don't hate. AFC South.
Yeah, they are a bird, but the
Oh,
Birds.
bro.
The Birds. Like, if you go on X and you hashtag the Birds,
Yeah,
the
I don't
Eagles
go on
fucking
X
thing
because I don't
comes
want my
up.
brain to melt from all these dumbass football fans.
If you polled 10,000 NFL fans across the world and you asked them what team is the Birds, all 10,000 of them are going to tell you it's the Philadelphia Eagles.
I don't know.
But anyway,
I doubt
continue.
that. That's a skewed number. AFC South. Texans at plus 105. The Jaguars at plus 250. The Colts at plus 340. And the Titans at plus 1,000. And I'm just going to take the Texans. I'm
I
going to
have
keep
the
it cordial
Texans.
here.
I'm going to take the Jaguars.
And we'll finish it off. AFC West. KC minus 260. Chargers plus 350. Raiders plus 1,000. Broncos plus 2,200.
Yeah, it's Casey.
Yeah, I took the Broncos. No, I took Kansas City.
Is that what gave you the juice on the bet, Brian? The Broncos?
No, what gave me the juice was the Bills. They're the highest. Oh no, the Packers are plus 230 actually. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good value on
So
the
there you go.
Packers. That's why the smart play is the Packers, because it's good value for a team that I think could pretty easily walk away with this division. But I think the most fun bet out of these 8 divisions is the Vikings. I think they're the only 4-digit dog that has a legitimate shot to win their division this year.
Yeah, that division is going to be very interesting, especially on Thanksgiving, because that's going to be.
Packers Lions or Packers Bears?
I
on
was talking
Thanksgiving?
Packers Lions Thanksgiving.
That's right. Their game's
that-
Thanksgiving,
they're
and then
playing
Packers
on-
Bears is
They're
like
always Thanksgiving.
Packers Bears is
They
on
don't
a
always play each other.
deep winter game.
Oh, they don't.
No, they just usually always play. All of the NFC North
Oh,
teams.
well, I take it back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think my favorite inside of all of this, I think the best value for what we have here, besides I could see the Packers, but I think I like Miami the most because I feel like they have the least to overcome. Because if the Jets suck again, the Jets just suck.
I mean,
The Bills are looking at a down year, and the Patriots are a garbage can. So, a hobo fire, if you will. So I think the Dolphins have the best value per competition, especially in that over plus 150 range.
yeah, I mean, fair. I think there's obviously a little bit more value, right? Because what were the Dolphins?
The Finns are 205,
And the Packers were plus
230.
So there's obviously more book value on the Packers. I mean, your points aren't wrong. I do see your points.
I'm thinking if you were going to pick one division winner, I feel like the two you're going to pick between are the Packers and the Dolphins because those have the best. If you're looking
best
at
value to not be a stone's throw in a league.
exactly. So like instead of like say if you're looking at like the Texans that are plus 105, you're not just going to bet the Texans unless you're not. If you're looking at a futures bet, I feel like you're not making one singular futures bet unless you're like a super fan, right? So
Or gambling.
or a gambling addict or degenerate. Either way, like you're not going to take the Texans at 105 because there's no value there. $105 back, you're not getting anything, right? There's no juice. So
just about even money on a 17, 18 week long bet
It's tough.
It's tough for me.
And even if you make the argument for the Rams, right? It's the 49ers.
Yeah,
They could they could wind up with 14 wins this year.
Yeah, I think we're in agreement on the two value picks for sure.
I'm just looking to see if there's anything else here. I mean, the Cowboys are a good shot, but like plus 170 for a division that's between the Cowboys and the Eagles. What are you really looking at?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the degenerate pool right there.
This is if you're gonna parlay all 8 of them.
Right.
So,
I mean, I don't really have a parlay for division winners. I mean, I like wins
fine.
better.
I don't know where you were heading next with the show, but when I pulled up my DraftKings, I guess I was putting together a 4 running back over 1,000 yards parlay. That includes Breece Hall, Bijan, Josh Jacobs, and Saquon Barkley. Plus 1105.
I think Saquon's where you go wrong there.
Now, in hindsight, it feels that way. I didn't place it. Looks like I was thinking about it.
Yeah.
That's a great slip.
I mean, I like
yeah.
I like the rest of them. I think Saquon might be where you go wrong because
I
there's just
know.
so
That
many.
may have been
balls.
why I didn't place it. I mean, like, I should probably think about it.
There's only so many
Saquon.
balls to go around there, you know.
Right. And I also, my other argument, I remember this now, was Jalen runs, which we'll take away
Yeah.
from.
Jalen runs.
that
They're
too.
going to work in other running backs in the
Yeah.
mix, and then they're going to throw the ball a lot. Yeah, I think Saquon's where you go wrong there. Where I want to go next is odds to win the conference.
Alrighty. AFC. Kansas City at plus 300. Baltimore at 550. Cincinnati at 700. Buffalo at 800. Texans at 850. The New York Jets at 1,000. The Dolphins at 1,100. Browns at 2,000. Chargers 2,200. Jacksonville 2,200. Pittsburgh 3,000. Colts 3,500. Raiders 6,000. Titans 8,000. Broncos 12,000. Patriots 12,000.
All right, Brian, your selection to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl.
The Chiefs at plus 300 isn't like the worst thing in the world, honestly.
No, it's not.
What were the Ravens again?
550.
See, that's not too bad either.
No, it's not. Nice little chunk of change.
I think I'll go with the Ravens. If the Chiefs make the Super Bowl, obviously not a surprise, but it feels like plus 550 at the Ravens feels a little bit nicer to me, I feel like.
Yeah, it does.
James, is your pick just obvious as much as it is?
Why don't you make a pick first? Why don't you make a pick
No,
first?
I am going to make a pick first. How about that? I'm going to take the Dolphins.
Dolphins, huh?
Yeah.
Plus 1,100.
1,100. Some
It's a
serious cheddar right
It's a
there.
nice spicy little. It's a nice little chunk of change at plus 1,100.
It's an extra $100, you know?
It's not. Yeah, it is an extra $100 because your boy is taking the New York Jets
Yeah.
at plus 1,000. I do not think they will win the division, but I do think they can get in as a wild card team.
That would be
And if
crazy.
Rodgers is healthy and Tay Adams is on this team by late October, like I expect him to be, I believe this could be the year that the New York Jets will make a run at plus 1,000. It is just enough to be believable, but still just long enough to be worth throwing a little bit of change on. And if they suck, they suck. They've sucked 25 of the 31 years I've been alive. So if it doesn't pan out, it doesn't pan out. But this year, I actually believe that we have a shot to make noise, and the money is worth it. And it's not fun to bet on the Chiefs to do it every year. So I will be taking the New York Jets at plus 1,000 to win the AFC.
So we'll move on to the NFC. We're going to start with the 49ers at plus 250. Detroit Lions at plus 550. The Birds at plus 600. The Boys at plus 700. The Pack Attack at plus 750. The Dirty Birds at 1,300. The Rams at 1,500. The Bears at 1,500. Seahawks 2,800. Bucks 3,500. Vikings 4,000. Saints 4,500. Cardinals 5,000. Commanders 6,000. Giants 7,000. Panthers 12,000.
I like the Lions at plus 550. Philadelphia, I don't think they get there. Not after losing Kelsey. I'll go with the Lions at plus 575, was it? 550?
550. We go with the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams, baby.
I just picked the Jets to come out of the AFC, led by one quarterback, Aaron Ayahuasca Rodgers.
Oh God, I know where this is going.
Please
So,
don't.
You should already know where this is
Yeah, I
going.
think I have an idea.
At plus 750.
Gotta follow the storylines.
It's going to be the revenge Super Bowl. Go Pack Go, plus 750 for the Green Bay
NFL.
Packers. If the NFL is scripted, this is the Super Bowl that we want this year.
Honestly,
Both
I
teams.
didn't even think about it.
We have the young and up and comer who just became the most expensive quarterback in the NFL. Showed us a good year. I mean, a couple of balls bounced the wrong way. They could have done it last year. So yeah, I'll take the Packers at plus 750. So my Super Bowl matchup will be Jets Packers. Your Super Bowl matchup is what?
Ravens Lions.
And your Super Bowl matchup is?
Dolphins Rams.
So go to potential Super Bowl matchups. Let's get the odds. Let's get the odds for each one of our Super Bowl matchups.
I'm looking to see where I can find champion specials. Here we go. Oh wait, no, that's state-based.
I think
Okay.
there's Super Bowl matchups.
It should
Super
be
Bowl
there.
exact results.
There you go.
There we go. It's got so many 49ers ones. Oh God. So what am I doing first?
Jets Packers. This is just a matchup, not who wins, right?
Yeah.
This is who wins, is what I have here.
Excuse me, that was gross that I did that right into the microphone. It won't just give you the matchup.
Yeah, it's giving me. I have exact results here. Let me see. Is this name the finalists? Here we go. Found it. It's gonna take a minute to get there.
Nice new phone case, Ryan.
Brand new phone.
Oh,
Oh, look at that.
My
Style
other
so
phone
we
of
got
the
a
siren.
15.
Yeah, my other phone got so shot. I was like, I need.
My
that.
phone's getting there, bro.
It
The
sucks.
fucking battery's swelling. It's shot.
Yeah.
I'm about to just hit the insurance to get the replacement and then trade it in for a new one.
I had to trade my old one in for this.
Yeah,
Right.
well, but I need to hit the insurance first to get the new one because that whole back glass is smashed.
Oh yeah, and they won't even.
Yeah.
New York Jets versus Green Bay Packers at plus 11,000.
Plus 11,000, son.
11,000 or
11,000.
whoa, my God,
5 will win you 550. Next matchup.
crazy.
What's the next
Well,
matchup?
Finn's fucking
Yeah, do yours.
Rams.
Finn's Ram. Oh boy.
That was your matchup, right?
Yeah, it is.
Honest-
That's a fun one.
You're not going to see that one on too many shows, I don't think. Good for you, Jack, for thinking outside the box. I went with a pretty basic answer, honestly.
I feel like that the odds on this one are going to be very high. Give me 1 second. Because Jets versus Rams is 20,000. So let me find
So it'll be
Miami.
slightly better than that.
Could be more.
Oh well, the Dolphins were slightly better odds than slightly worse odds than the Jets, so it'll be slightly worse odds on this matchup then 25,000 maybe.
I'm trying to. They
Try
don't
harder.
order this properly because it's all a bunch of different shit. It's not like ordered by the team. So DraftKings, can we work on that? Can we order our shit properly?
By the way, while we're doing this, while Jack's finding this here, let's just take a moment to call out DraftKings. I think it might be time that we switch over the official sports book of Parlay-Vous because you're familiar with what DraftKings is talking about doing?
No.
Starting January 1st.
No.
It's only in 4 states, New York being one of them. I don't remember the other 4. They're implementing on January 1st a winning fee of 3.84%, I believe it is. So let's just say you make an even money bet at $100. You're going to get paid back $196.26. They're going
Why?
because they're going to take their 3.84% from your winnings.
They don't make enough money on people losing.
Nope. So
So it's fair to go to FanDuel.
unless FanDuel follows suit as well, and and Caesars Sportsbook, anybody else who takes sports books in the state of New York, might be time for us to all jump ship from DraftKings. Which is what I can't imagine. I've only seen word on DraftKings doing this.
Mm-hmm.
How could you I don't know the exact numbers, but just the eye test. The eye test tells you that market share has got to be close to 50-50 between FanDuel and DraftKings, right?
I would guess so.
So why would DraftKings do this and FanDuel not? Like, you're just gonna ship all of your customers to FanDuel, unless FanDuel is also doing it. You got it, Jack?
I do. Plus 20,000.
Plus 20,000 for Fins, Dolphins. Now we're gonna have to go to Lions, Ravens. For
That's a
Ron-
very
Probably
easy
lower.
one because
Yeah, I was
it's
gonna say it's
fucking
probably at the top.
Yeah, it's definitely less.
Lions,
long-term.
Ravens, 3,500.
Still not bad.
No,
I like
35
mine.
Plus 3,500 is still a good chunk of change. So while we're at that, get to odds to win the Super Bowl.
All right, boys, draft is complete.
Wow,
That's
a
quick.
draft.
Yeah, they kept it moving.
What
For
time
sure.
is it?
It's I have
8:14.
2 rounds left, but it's
What time is it?
8:14.
started at 7:15, so we're
I was
just
I was
over
gonna say
an
an
hour.
hour draft. That's
Yeah,
record
that's a
time.
crisp draft.
Very, very crisp. Came
So-
out pretty well. Very happy.
Super Bowl 2025 champs go as follows: 500 for the Chiefs, 600 for the Niners, 1,000 for the Ravens, 1,200 for the Lions, 1,300 for the Bengals, 1,400 for the Eagles, 16 for the Texans and Bills, Packers 18, Jets 19, Cowboys 19, Dolphins 2,200, Rams 3,000, Falcons 3,000, Bears 35, Browns 4,000, Chargers 450.
Do we need
Pittsburgh.
to keep going?
Pittsburgh
No, I'm
5,000.
gonna take the Ravens.
I could really take either one of my 2 teams that I selected, especially since the odds are only 100 apart. But let's just go Jets. Let's break the fucking streak. Plus 1,900 New York Jets win the Super Bowl. This is the first time on the pod I've ever picked the Jets to win anything significant, other than a game in mid-October.
I'll go with the Dolphins at 2,200, but I went to go see if I could parlay it with Dolphins versus Rams, and it's just not giving me odds.
Yeah, you can't do that. Here's a problem now. We're not going to be able to get this on DraftKings, I don't think, right? Individual awards?
I could get named the finalists.
No.
Oh.
Like MVP, Coach of the Year, yada, yada, yada.
I think we can. Let me have a look-see here.
It's illegal to bet on in New
Yeah,
York.
you can.
What are we looking for?
The end of the season awards, which is not legal to gamble on in New York. So there's no way it's going to come up on DraftKings.
Don't fucking knife hand me, bro.
Give me your fucking phone so I can get odds. You're not going to find them on DraftKings because it's not legal to gamble on in the state of New York because it's based on a vote. And New York doesn't let you sports gamble on anything that's left in the hands of people. We go over this every Super Bowl year because you can't bet on Gatorade color or Super Bowl MVP or anything like that in the state of New York legally. Because if it's in the hands of humans, they do not trust it. Still looking for it, though.
There you go, homie.
Thanks, dog.
Ryan, while we're trying to get these winners up, give us a rundown of the team we got drafted here.
So I have Joe Burrow, Brees Hall, Rashad White, Puka Nakua, Michael Pittman, Njoku, Zamir White, Chris Godwin, Javonte Williams, Christian Watson, J.K. Dobbins, Tyler Lockett, and then Charbonnet and Thielen. And that's it. If you're not
Pretty solid
streaming
roster.
defenses, you're not trying, and you don't need to pick kickers that early, so
I picked
And you don't need to take
kickers, dude.
quarterbacks until the bottom half of the draft either.
unless you want a top 5. However,
Unless you're in a super flex league.
true. Yeah, that's always the rule in quarterbacks. If you want a top 5, you gotta take them early. If not, you can.
In my
Yeah,
league,
wait.
I was picking 9 out of 12. I took Garrett Wilson in the first round, and then I took Aaron Rodgers in the 12th round.
Yeah, I think someone got Jordan Love in like the 12th round here. Oh, we gotta take a defense. So bold.
All right. So you'll see how it says in the red what it is the odds for,
Mm-hmm.
and then as you scroll down, it'll show you the next. I have all of them in the queue. So we're
Gotcha.
starting with odds to win MVP.
Patty Mahomes 450, Josh Allen 600, Joe Burrow 800, Lamar 1800, CJ Stroud 1100, Justin Herbert 3500, Jordan Love 1300, Brock Purdy 1300, Jalen Hurts 1400, Dak 2000, Tua 2500, Rodgers 2000, Trevor Lawrence 46, Matthew Stafford 25, Kirk 44, Jared Goff 2000. A Rich 3,500, McCaffrey first skill position player at 2,500. Justin Fields is in here at 24,000. Deshaun Watson 750, Kyler 5, Caleb 45, which is way too little, and then Tyreek Hill, the second skill position player at plus 10,000.
I want to go Lamar, but I don't think they'll give it to him 2 years in a row.
Yeah, it's tough to win 2 in a row.
A crazy poll: first defensive player would be Myles Garrett.
Which is crazy.
They have Josh Allen pretty high. He would really need to carry the Bills, I feel like, which he's been doing. Where was Rodgers on there? Do you remember?
Plus 2,000.
See, that's interesting too, because he doesn't have to make the Super Bowl to be the MVP. And he definitely is coming off a big comeback year. I would take Rodgers for the fun of it, and the odds are pretty good. But I do kind of like Josh Allen at the same time. Kind of gives me like a Phillip Rivers feel where he can throw the lights out even if he doesn't win the big game. But that's what you sometimes get the awards for. So I'll go Josh, but Aaron Rodgers is fun.
All of my other picks led to this. It has to be Aaron Rodgers. It has to be Aaron Rodgers at plus 2,000 based on the way that I've picked the board so far. And for fun and for being a Jets fan, at that kind of money, I'm going to make that bet. I'm going to make that bet in real life. I'll probably lay $100 on it to win $2,000 before Thursday night comes and goes. The way I see it is 10, 11 wins, 30 to 35 touchdowns, between 35 and 3,800 yards, and 1 playoff win gets it. 30 touchdowns, 3,600 yards, 11 wins, and 1 playoff win, and I think he's at least in the conversation. And at plus 2,000, I think it's worth it. And like we said, we're not making these bets for it to bet fucking 10 to win 335 on it being Mahomes.
Right.
You know?
What do you think, Jack?
It's a real toss-up for me because I feel like this is the year that we see a non-standard finish because we've gotten KC.
I thought you were going to say non-quarterback.
I was considering non-quarterback. I still am because if McCaffrey's healthy this year and he plays all 17 games, very fair shot for him. Not fair in regards to how the voting goes, but there's a fair shot that he's in the conversation.
That guy's odds to score 2 touchdowns in any given game last year was just slightly better than even money, and he still wasn't even going to be close to it. I get it.
He was in the conversation.
Yeah, but it's just,
hard to
in
do
today's
it now.
league. It's a quarterback's award.
A lot of my heart tells me to just fuck around and say Brock Purdy. Then that side of my heart also says Jordan Love.
The problem with a guy like Brock Purdy, it's not that he can't have the results to win it. It's the pieces around him. You have the best offensive lineman in football. You have the best running back in football. You have one of the best wide receiving cores in football.
Right.
You have a top 5 tight end. You have a top 5 front 7. You have a top 10 defensive backfield. It's hard. It's really hard for a guy like Brock Purdy to come out and win MVP because the voters are going to take all of those things into consideration. I don't hate Jordan Love.
Well, how does it come in when you vote on MVP? Obviously not us, but how does it skew? Is it the best player on the best team, or is it Is it just the best player?
It's supposed to be
unanimously?
the most valuable player to their team, which ultimately what it comes down to.
But what is it voted
The
as?
same way it comes down to it in basketball, it typically comes down to the best quarterback on the best team. And even though the regular season is supposed to be the only thing that matters, the playoffs do matter, even though they're not supposed to. And any of these writers that has a vote will tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I see a spot for Tua if the Dolphins come out guns blazing. He was the leader in pass yards last year.
True.
I mean,
Despite
I feel
his
like
little pea shooter of an arm.
who fucking cares? They still score. They still run it up. Over in a Dolphins game is almost a mortal lock, Jim.
Okay.
I mean, I know I'm taking forever, but I think I'm gonna say Jordan Love. I think if
What
he
are the
does
odds
it
on
again,
Jordan Love?
1,300, same as Purdy.
Plus 1,300 for Jordan Love, plus 2,000 for Aaron Rodgers. What was the odds on Josh
I think
Allen?
650 it was.
600, I got
600.
here.
All right, moving on. Next one on the docket should be Coach of the Year.
That would be it. Yeah, we got
Let's hear it.
Jimmy Harbaugh 900, Matt LaFleur 1,800, D'Amico Ryans 1,200, Matt Eberflus 1,200, Raheem Morris 1,300, Robert Saleh 1,000, Shane Steichen 1,300, Mike McDonald 900, Dave Canales, or I don't even know, am I right there?
Dave Canales, yeah.
Canales 1,000, Antonio Pierce 3,800, Sean McVay 2,400, Dan Campbell 1,800, Doug Peterson 5,500, Gerard Mayo 2,800, Jonathan Gannon 1,500, Kyle Shanahan 6,500, Mike McDaniel 2,500, Zach Taylor 2,500, Brian Callahan 1,800, Dan Quinn 2,800, Mike Tomlin 1,500, Sean Payton 3,000, and the rest of these are fucking useless. Besides like Kevin O'Connell.
So I really, really do like Jonathan Gannon at plus 1,800. I think he was one of the hot coaching conversations last year with what he did with this Arizona team, especially pre-Kyler last year. And I really do think that, like, Coach of the Year, they're going to score what you came with and what you turned it into this year. And I do like the idea of it being Jonathan Gannon, but the numbers are just too sweet for me to not make this pick at getting another 1,000 points on top of the 1,800 on Jonathan Gannon. I'm going to take Dan Quinn at plus 2,800 with Atlanta.
Yeah.
You're talking about a team that hasn't been able to figure it out over the last 4 years. They come in, what were they, middling last year? I don't remember how they finished.
I think they just missed the playoffs.
They come in, they win the division, their offense looks great. They get to the playoffs, it's going to be hard for it to not be Dan Quinn. You make the same argument with Kyler and Jonathan Gannon. If they come out guns blazing and they make a playoff game and they win a playoff game, Jonathan Gannon's going to be in the conversation as well.
I think I kind of like Matt LaFleur.
You think so?
Just because a lot of people are hyped on the Packers this year, and like he's been progressively getting better each year. And I feel like if they make the Super Bowl like you were predicting, I think that would probably be enough to get him Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, every time the Packers have been getting progressively better each year. They've never taken a step behind, and they are one of the youngest rosters in the league. So, I think it's interesting. I think that, like I said, I think that only really happens if they somehow make the Super Bowl. He can get it.
I'll buy that.
I got two guys in mind here because, on the contrary of what you're saying, I like MCDC a lot. I feel like if the Lions are undeniable this year, which they practically almost were last year, they beat the Chiefs week 1. We got Baltimore playing the Chiefs week 1. We'll see how that goes. And we thought it was a meltdown for the Chiefs last year. I think Dan Campbell's got a very good shot, and he's at 18 or 1,300, 1,800, I believe. 1,800, yes. And then, following my Dolphins picks here, I see Mike McDaniels up at 2,500, and I feel like if the Dolphins are going to do it, if Tua's not going to be MVP, and if they come out of the AFC, like following my previous statements, then McDaniels has a pretty good shot. But I'm going to stick with MCDC here, Motor City Dan Campbell, baby.
My problem with both of these, I saw you wondering what the MCDC was.
Yeah, it took me a second.
I put it together right away. I don't hate them. My issues with them is what I was saying about like they're going to look at last year to this year, and you need to dramatically be better than you were the year before, really, in the grand scheme of things, to be considered for this award. And how much better is Dan Campbell going to do than he did last year?
Right.
They won the division, didn't they? Or did they not?
I don't think they did. I think they got there off the wild card.
They might have.
Yeah.
And then also, same thing with Mike McDaniel. Like, you got to win the division. Now, I know you bet on them to win the division, but in my opinion, the floor for Mike McDaniel would be considered as win the division. If not, get to the Super Bowl.
Right.
You know? So I don't hate them. Those are just the reasons that I picked who I picked. That's it.
Gotcha. So we're moving on here.
Yes, sir.
Comeback player of the year.
I mean, this one feels like a lot.
Yeah, I mean, Rodgers is minus 120 last time I checked.
Yeah.
Plus 175.
What?
Plus 175.
Okay, so it's
Yeah,
moved.
I was
but
going
still,
with Aaron Rodgers either way.
as long, I mean, I know we said this last year about DeMar Hamlin and then it didn't happen, but like, if Rodgers plays 17 games and the Jets have a winning record,
He's going to get it.
this is Rodgers' award to lose.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but Shotgun Sammy sitting there, dude.
the
I
problem is, and
don't
I
think so.
again, I know this is the same. I know I'm saying things that contradict exactly how last season went, but Aaron Rodgers is coming back from the Achilles tear at 40 years old, very similarly to how DeMar Hamlin was coming back from dying on the football field, and then DeMar Hamlin still lost it to a guy who was just coming back from playing on a shitty team last year in Joe Flacco. And this is the same situation here where Sam Darnold is the only thing Sam Darnold's coming back from is the bench. You know? So I would love
Some would say it's a scary place.
I would
dude.
love to be able to spray Sam Darnold, but Rodgers just makes
Like
too much sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, but I'm never for any of that stuff. So I'm gonna stick with Shotgun Sammy. And
What are
if
the
they
odds
get
on Sam Darnold?
1,700.
Love it.
Defensive Player of the Year. Micah Parsons 550, Max Crosby 700, Myles Garrett 650, Nick Bosa 700, TJ Watt 600, Aiden Hutchinson 1,300, Josh Allen of the Jaguars
Also really good at football.
1,500,
Both Josh Allen.
Chris Jones 3,500, Will Anderson Jr. 2,700, Fred Warner 3,600, Kyle Hamilton 4,500, Montez Sweat 3,500, Brian Burns 7,200, Daniil Hunter 1,800, and I feel like we're getting into nonsense over here. So
I already have mine.
Go ahead.
It's going to be Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah.
Plus 1,000.
I
I also like TJ Watt.
I want Mad Max.
Max Crosby.
Mad Max Crosby at plus 750.
Mad Max Crosby
That is
Vegas
not very
Strip.
cool.
I'm gonna take Old Pro Fred.
Fred's a good call too.
Yeah, it's just
Fred
the-
Warner's a beast.
Fred Warner's a great call. It, just like very much so like how the MVP has turned into the best quarterback award. Defensive Player of the Year is kind of turning into the best edge rusher in a lot of ways. Fred Warner can do it, but I don't think a lot of inside linebackers can. Fred Warner can.
He's Old Pro Fred.
I don't think a lot of them can though.
Right.
Who else?
Like a guy like Micah obviously makes sense because
He plays everywhere.
he's going to play outside linebacker, inside linebacker, defensive end, defensive tackle, a little bit of box safety. Micah Parsons is going to do a little bit of everything. He's the multi-purpose box
Fuck it,
seven.
dude. He might press somebody.
Originally,
Might press the slot receiver, dude.
originally invented by former New York Jets Sheldon Richardson, the multi-purpose box seven. That guy played every position in the box.
Next category. Odds to win first coach to be fired.
My favorite future.
Wow.
First coach fired is my favorite fucking future.
A lot of people moved this year though. That's the problem.
Let's hear it. There's always a spot to be
So,
freed up mid-season.
The highest odds, or the lowest odds, is Dennis Allen at 300, and then the second lowest is Mike McCarthy at 600, and then going from
Yeah,
there,
that
it is a
makes sense.
tie between Brian Dable and Big Bob Sala and Todd Bowles,
At what?
1,100.
I like McCarthy, but I think
Are we gonna look at the other ones?
Yeah, let's keep hearing them.
Kevin Stefanski 1,800, Antonio Pierce 1,800, Eberflus 1,500, Kevin O'Connell 3,100, Sean McDermott 1,800, Sean Payton 2,700.
I'm gonna stop you right
That's
there.
an interesting
That's a
one.
very
Who?
spicy one.
Sean McDermott. If the Bills pan out the way you guys think they will, it's the same argument you made before where we keep making moves, no one's staying, we're losing talent, we're doing the same thing over and over. That is interesting.
I know what my pick is. It's not Sean McDermott.
Who is it?
I believe the number you just said was plus 1,500.
For
A guy who has been on the hot seat before. A guy who has definitely made moves this offseason knowing that he probably had 1 year to save his job. A guy whose team is being talked about a lot in the media, who just had the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft last year. Matt Eberflus,
Really?
the head coach of the Chicago Bears, is out of mulligans. He has loaded up more, even more so than they were loaded up for Justin Fields last year. They have added more weapons and talent. They have added DeAndre Swift to the backfield. They have spent the number 1 overall pick on one Caleb Williams, who people are comparing to Patrick Mahomes right away. Their defense isn't bad. They added talent a lot of places. They keep filling holes for the excuses that they've had until it came down to Justin Fields just can't play. Went with the number 1 overall pick, took Caleb Williams. Went with the number 9 overall pick, took Rome Odunze. If this team is sputtering, I could see him being a sacrificial lamb midway through the year, because we are not going to sacrifice Caleb Williams' development 12 weeks into the year of a 2-10 season by making him continue to go through this. I believe Matt Eberflus is the first coach fired.
Honestly, I kind of agree. That I didn't really think about the Bears too much. But yeah, you get 2 chances at a rebuild.
Not many coaches.
I didn't get through many of the plus 2,000 odd ones here.
No, I think that one makes sense, honestly.
Not many coaches get a fucking opportunity to draft a quarterback in the top 10 twice for the same team.
I don't think the Giants will fire Daboll during the season.
He was another guy I liked, and
I don't think they'll do it during the season.
Mike McCarthy just during the season doesn't feel like a Jerry Jones move. Otherwise, Mike McCarthy is
and not
number
only
2
that,
on my
they
list.
keep making the playoffs, so you can't.
Yeah, but
I know it's the same story as the Bills.
We also have Mike Tomlin here at 2,300.
Yeah, I don't.
Nah.
I
just
think
the
that's
Rooney
a
family
chance.
of all of the families in the NFL, the Rooney family does not strike me as the family that would oust a guy, especially one like Mike Tomlin, who has given you 20 good years as a head coach of your program. I just think respect alone, they will not fire Mike in the middle of the year. I believe they will let Mike coach all 17 games this year.
Right.
I saw one more on here that I was interested in. I think I'm flaming out on it. So, move on. We'll move it on. Defensive Rookie of the Year. Dallas Turner 400, Laitu 400, Jared Verse 700, Quinyon Mitchell 1800, Terrion Arnold 1300, Byron Murphy 1000, Cooper DeJean 2300, Chop Robinson, that guy's name is sick, 1800, Nate Wiggins 3200, Kool-Aid McKinstry 3300, Darius Robinson 1600, Edgerrin Cooper 3600. Looking to see if there's anybody else relevant here to the.
I know this
lower
is a
odds.
dumb question to ask before I do this. What team is Laitu on?
I think LA Chargers, Superchargers.
Is he on the Chargers?
Either them or the Commanders. A higher pick, but like somebody who would have been picking in that second round. I don't think he went in the first round.
He's on the Colts.
Colts. Ooh.
Give me Laitu.
I like Laitu.
I don't know much, so I'm gonna let you guys handle this.
Laitu. If you can't tell by his name, he's one of those island brothers.
Yeah.
He's one of those Samoan or Hawaiian or something like that. Which, those guys just by trade in the NFL are mean motherfuckers in the trench. He can play most positions outside of like a zero or a whatever the fucking heads up. Basically anything outside of like a nose tackle technique.
3-tech.
No, a 3 technique is heads up on the guard. Anything outside of a straight up nose tackle over the center, he can be impactful for. So playing next to DeForest Buckner alongside the edge rushers over there, I want to say Jerry Hughes, but I don't know if that's who it is. Honestly, that could have just been a real fucking old name that I pulled for no reason. They have a good defensive line in Indianapolis. The defense is going to be good. and they'll probably be in enough games like where there's a lot of points being scored, lots of opportunities to make plays. And he at UCLA last year, he's an absolute menace on the inside of the defensive line. So I think with the players they have there, he's going to have an opportunity to get a lot of one-on-ones and make some plays in the backfield.
I'm just looking for the Colts roster to see.
I mean, the other defensive tackle is DeForest Buckner, who is a recurring perennial All-Pro.
I'm just trying to see who else is on the
just
line
alone, if between the guards, if you have DeForest Buckner and Laitu, you only have one double team to go that way. You're probably sending the double team to DeForest Buckner, and then it's going to be Laitu heads up against the guard. Good luck as a running back trying to stop that man.
Looking at like just ends, I mean Kwity Paye.
Kwity Paye is another good one.
Raekwon Davis, I don't know if he holds any value here. Dayo Odeyingbo, I feel like he made some.
Adenabo?
Yeah.
Wasn't that the guy from Michigan that blew his Achilles out?
Maybe.
Last year, before the season ever started, like at the combine or something?
A lot of that box seven, besides like the front guys, a lot of it's disappeared over the years because, what's his name? Quit football. I'm forgetting his name. He changed his name.
Shaq Leonard, yeah. Darius Shaq Leonard. And then there was another guy who flamed out of that inside linebacker core. Oh. I'm going to take Laitu.
I like that. That's a great pick. Offensive Player of the Year.
Rookie of the Year or Player of the Year?
Player of the Year.
So we skipped offense. Okay, that's fair. Yeah, no, because it went defensive player, defensive rookie, offensive player.
Is it not going to be Christian McCaffrey?
Well, you got Tyreek, you got 800, and then everything else is basically in the thousands besides McCaffrey at 750. I think Tyreek's a good bet. Jefferson's a good, no, not this year. CeeDee Lamb.
What is Garrett Wilson?
That's what I was just about to say. G5, baby.
Just doing a lot of scrolling. Give me a minute. 2,500.
What's Breeze?
I think that's interesting.
2,000.
I'm going to split my unit into 2 half units and take Garrett Wilson for a half unit and Breece Hall for a half unit.
I think I'll take Garrett Wilson too, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take my whole unit. I'm going to put it on Amon-Ra.
Also a good call.
Also honestly. A good pick, yeah.
I mean, it was between 1,600 and then there's also Bijan sitting there at 1,500, and I'm kind of like
also a good call.
Chomping at the bit.
Mean, Garrett Wilson could easily catch like 18 touchdowns this year.
Yeah,
Bijan could easily score.
I think that's very
20.
Interesting.
But I like Bijan and the Sun God. Alrighty, Offensive Rookie of the Year. It's time, and to start, we got Caleb at plus 145. Maserati Marv 800, Jaden Daniels 500, Malik Neighbors 1,400, Roma Dunze 5,500, Drake May 1,800, Xavier Worthy 3,000, Brock Bowers 6,000, Brian Thomas Jr. 5,500, Bo Nix 750. And then the rest of these are
God bless.
God bless. Malachi Corley is on here, the fucking guy the Jets drafted.
Yeah, Malachi Corley ain't winning. That's crazy. He's going to be the 4th wide receiver.
Blake Corum and Keon Coleman. Blake Corum 2,500, Keon Coleman 1,500.
I think Keon Coleman's worth a sprinkle. I think there's like 3 guys here that I really like, but I think Keon Coleman's maybe worth a bit of a sprinkle. I think Malik Neighbors is worth more than a sprinkle.
Yeah.
The problem is the Giants, but I think his individual numbers are still going to pop off the page. Think Odell Beckham's rookie year. And my real favorite here for this is a triple digit person. We're not talking about 4 digits plus here in the odds. I like Bo Nix.
I was just saying I like Bo.
There's no pressure. There's no pressure in Denver to be good right away. They're setting him up in a very good situation. Sean Payton can coach quarterbacks. Sean Payton wanted this guy from the beginning outside of almost any other option outside of Caleb because we knew Caleb was going to the Bears. I think there's too much pressure in that Chicago situation, like I already stated with Eberflus and everything going on over there. If I had to put all my eggs in one basket, I think the plus 750 on Bo Nix is worth the fucking scratch. But I do like Neighbors and Keon Coleman as well for a little sprinkle.
tough spot. Because if Kyron goes down this year, Corum could easily win it.
Yeah, but then you're banking on an injury.
And what happens to Kyron a lot? Spotty injuries.
Yeah, but you're also banking on a running back injury not leading to a trial by committee situation.
Yeah, I kind of like Jaden Daniels.
The
'cause he's
word
kinda in
is
the
on
same
Corum
position as
is
Bo
that
Nix,
he
but
is
it's
running
really-
back too.
There's no pressure to win there. The only thing that kind of sucks for him is that Ross is a little bit more talented than Denver is. But Bo Nix is interesting. Still got Javante, still got Cortland Sutton.
No longer have Tim Patrick.
Yeah, they got rid of him.
I'm going to put my money on Keon Coleman. Take my unit and put it there.
I don't hate Keon Coleman.
No, it's
So I
interesting.
don't know if we said this on air yet, but the new combine thing that people are really vested in, outside of 40-yard dashes and all of these other things, is the wide receiver gauntlet.
Mm-hmm.
And last year, do you know who had the best numbers in the wide receiver
Shuttle run.
gauntlet?
And the shuttle run. I'm pretty sure. It's like a ladder. It might be the cone drill.
It's where it's like the gauntlet where they do the cones, and they catch the balls as they go. You
Oh,
know?
okay. I see what you're
I'm
saying.
gonna have to guess Garrett Wilson last year.
No, Garrett Wilson was a rookie.
Was he 2 years ago? Garrett Wilson
Yeah.
at this point? Damn. Okay.
Oh, last year, the best numbers? Puka.
Puka.
Was it Puka? Yeah.
And you know who had the best numbers this year at the combine?
Keon Coleman.
Keon Coleman.
Gotcha.
And another little fun tidbit about Keon Coleman, which has nothing to do with his on-the-field success, although you could argue maybe it would in the mental aspect. And I don't know with uniform codes and everything else if this will be allowed in the NFL, but Keon Coleman throughout his college career at Florida State University would wear 2 mouthpieces hanging off of his face mask. The 2 colors of the teams he was playing that day. So if he played the Florida Gators, he had an orange and a blue mouthpiece hanging out. If he played Marshall, he had a green and a white mouthpiece hanging out. And again, doesn't necessarily translate to on the field shit, but that's the kind of swagger that I want in my wide receiver one. So
That's a weird pick of things to do. Mouthpieces? Yeah, dude.
He's just like,
So is he making
I was waiting for you to say something about the socks, and I was like, I don't
college
think
football,
anyone
they're
gives a
on
shit.
rules with socks.
I know. I was gonna say they don't give about the shit about the socks in the
What's
NFL.
left? Is that it?
That's it. We did everything.
All right.
Those are the futures, yeah.
Those are the futures. All right. So outside of futures, give me one bold claim.
Claim or prediction?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
A hot take, if you will.
For the year, you're saying.
Brian, I'll let you.
It doesn't have to be an end of the year result. It just, it could literally be the fucking Chiefs are getting blown out on Thursday night. It doesn't have to be an end of the year thing.
I'll let you go first, Brian.
Has to be bold. Everything I'm thinking of is not that bold, to be honest with you. I was gonna say Marvin Harrison over 1,000, but that's way too easy. There's no one else to throw the ball to.
Trey McBride
True.
and that running back that they just got.
I'll say my bold prediction this year will be. It's not really bold because that's where my story's been going. No one to show. I was gonna say the Ravens beat the Chiefs, but I have them winning the Super Bowl. I'm gonna say that Aaron Rodgers will throw for just over 5,000 yards.
Okay, that's bold.
It's a bold one, Brian.
And the
Jeez.
Jets will lose in the playoffs.
Okay. Jack? You want me to go?
Do you have it queued up?
I have 2.
I have some spicy stuff.
One less bold than the next. The first one, this will be the last NFL season that we see Dak Prescott wearing a Dallas Cowboys jersey.
Okay.
Now, I don't know how bold that is if you don't think that's that bold.
I think it's 50-50.
The Buffalo Bills will not make the playoffs.
That seems to be what a lot of people are thinking.
The Buffalo Bills will not make the playoffs.
Okay, I'll go. The Saints will not make the playoffs.
I don't think that's that bold, but all right.
You don't think it's that bold? A lot of people like the Saints.
A lot of people thought they were dog shit last year, but that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. You got anything else for me?
Cam Akers will be the best running back in
Yeah.
Texans running back room
Kinda,
by the end of the season.
Kinda
In,
interesting.
in Houston's running back room?
Yeah.
He's
All right.
actually came back killing it.
That's
apparently.
crazy,
So,
but okay.
it's interesting.
It is interesting.
And they did waive Damian Pierce.
They did.
So
I'll give you one more while we're talking about the Texans. Stephon Diggs won't finish in the top 3 for the Houston Texans team in
I
total
don't think
receiving
that's
yards.
as bold
Yeah,
as I think it is.
I don't think it's
Not
that
with
crazy.
Nico Collins and Tank Dell there.
I think Stephon Diggs is going to be baby in the corner.
I think. I think the Colts make a playoff run past the wild card.
All right, that's bold. I like that because I don't believe in Anthony Richardson, so I do like that. Until he shows it to me, I don't believe in him.
Right.
He did it for 5 games. There's tape on him now, you know. All right, anything else? All
Just
right.
wait on
Let's
week
go
one.
football,
Yeah.
dude.
Happy fucking futures, happy gambling. We'll see you guys Thursday night for week 1. Maybe we should have talked about the Thursday night game tonight, but whatever. I don't give a fuck. We'll get to it on
It's alright,
Thursday.
there'll be plenty of football on
We
Sunday.
got plenty of football. Plenty of football to get to on Thursday. We'll be back with our regular week 1 show this Thursday, featuring everyone's favorite game, Guess the Lines. There will be a Super Saturday Showdown where I'll lay out at least 3 college football picks for you.
Oh, yeah.
We will make some wagers. We will possibly talk fantasy football. We're going to, as we do every season, we kind of tweak and retweak the formats of the shows. So we'll get together behind the scenes, and we'll discuss how we're going to format everything going forward. But with that being said, we will see you on Thursday. We're brought to you by House of Havoc Podcasting, Stay Thirsty Company, Justin's Chop Shop at West Hampton Beach, and Dino Skate Park. Peace out.
Stay tuned.